Welcome to Conversations with Kay. I'm Kay Ryder. And every week I talk with Vermonters who are leaders in the fields of government, healthcare, education, the arts, and community life. And welcome to our listeners on WBVT LP 99.3 FM. Our guest is Steve MacQueen, who's the Artistic Director of the Flynn Center for the Performing Arts in Burlington, Vermont. Welcome back.
It's always great to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Right. Now, where is the Flynn located, just in case somebody doesn't know?
Right in the heart of downtown Burlington, 153 Main Street, anchors the south end of Church Street.
Very
Can't
good.
miss it.
How many seats, actually, are there at the Flynn?
Well, in the main room, there are 1,411 seats. And then we also have our black box in the basement, which has a capacity of about 180 and lower.
Great. Now, how long have you been Artistic Director?
A little over 6 years, amazingly enough. Yes, I came in for Jazz Fest in 2012.
Right. Now, you have been there through John Kalacki's 7 years.
That's right.
And now you have a new director.
We do. We have a new director, Anna Marie Goretz. I think everybody's pretty excited about it. John is such a smart guy, and he even knows how to leave places well. He gave us 9 months of warning. Use that 9 months to enable the board to do a really good search to find the right person, and also use that time to build this fund called Everybody Belongs, which is for his big cause, which is access for anybody that would otherwise have trouble getting to the theater, and raise over $2 million that we get to use for that purpose. So
that's a marvelous tribute to him.
So it's great. So thank you, John, and welcome, Anna Marie. We're all in a very good spot with it.
There you go. You have an exciting season coming up with a lot of variety.
I like to think so.
And you brought some clips so our audience can hear some of the music.
Sure.
That they're going to hear if they go to these great shows.
Yes.
So let's start with Herbie Hancock. He's a jazz and rhythm and blues. He's an icon.
He's a genius. Yeah, I think he's got one of the most storied careers of the 20th century. I mean, he's in that Miles Davis second quartet when he's a kid, like one of the greatest jazz groups, the most influential jazz groups ever. And then he's a total innovator with synthesizers and sort of that crossing that gap from jazz to funk and R&B, things like the Headhunters record. And then he makes the first jazz hip-hop record with Rocket, if you remember that. It was a huge hit in the 80s. And he's won Grammys left and right. And he does whatever he wants. He's like one of these guys with such an open mind to go with this incredible talent. Like, there's no barriers for him. Like, I can't do this and I can't do that. And when he comes here, he's going to be celebrating that sort of funk sound because some of the younger musicians really wanted him to push that. So this guy, Terrace Martin, that works with people like Kendrick Lamar and Kamasi Washington, really pushed him. So he's going to come here and play a lot of the stuff like we're going to hear right
Okay,
now.
let's hear Herbie Hancock. For our radio listeners, I'm talking with Steve MacQueen, who is the Artistic Director of the Flynn Theater for the Performing Arts Center. Okay, now he certainly has evolved. He started, and he's gone on for years.
Decades,
it's a great thing to have him here.
Oh, absolutely. He's one of the absolute legends in American music, I think. I put him up on that Bob Dylan level. The very tippy top of people that have impacted American music.
There are people who wouldn't agree with you, but that's okay.
About what? About Herbie Hancock?
No, about putting him higher than.
I didn't say higher. I said he's up there on that level. That level of people that have impacted American music through innovation and talent. That's all I meant.
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not trying to start any fights.
Okay. Now we have David Bowie with an orchestra and a cellist.
Oh, yeah. I love David Bowie, as long as we're talking about legends. And I was surprised. I don't usually get, you know, I feel people have their own families, and like celebrity death cult worship is a little weird to me sometimes. But that David Bowie death really hit me kind of hard. When I was a young, he was the coolest person in the world every year of my life through graduating high school. His records were the greatest, and he had such a profound impact on culture and acceptance of, you know, outside kind of things. He was sort of the gateway for sort of almost this transgender, this gender fluidity. I think he's just such a brilliant guy, and I was trying to find a way to pay tribute to that impact he'd had on culture. And it was hard, because I don't want just a bunch of people coming up and singing David Bowie songs in front of me. Like that seems to not be what would celebrate somebody who was so creative. And so and so I came across this ambient orchestra that Evan Ziporyn conducts, and they do it's a full symphony, it's 40 pieces, and they do David Bowie's last record, Black Star, the one that he released the day before he died. Crazy. Thinking to a marketer to the very end. Yeah, right, yeah. And it's a masterpiece, but most people don't really know it that well. And instead of having somebody sing, the great Maya Beiser, this cellist who manipulates her sound through all these pedals and gets the kind of requisite weirdness for Bowie, plays all the melodic leads. She actually plays the part of Bowie. And it just seemed like a really creative, inventive, different, off-the-cuff way to pay tribute to this music. And because it's sort of a record that people don't know as well, there'll be lots of surprises, which I think is really important if you're going to pay tribute to Bowie, because he was always so surprising. Like, what's he going to do next? And I was like, whoa, he did that. He did this. Now he's in Germany making electronic music. Oh, now he's a thin, coke-snorting, thin white Duke guy. Now he's this, he's that. So this, I wanted Surprise to be part of it. Yeah.
Well, I have always thought that the cello sounds the most like the human voice.
Oh, I agree.
Because I'm an alto.
Oh, okay.
I feel that the cello really sounds the most like the human voice.
I think you're right. I would agree. I would totally agree with that.
Yeah. Well, let's listen to David Bowie.
Great. Can't wait for that.
Wow, wow! You know, when you consider that when that was, you know, written, I mean, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be I think it's gonna be fantastic. The hope is that all the Bowie fans and all the symphony fans come out and see it, rather than both of them stay away. But we'll see. I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Do you go to all the shows, by the way?
I go to all the shows that the Flynn presents. I do, yeah, unless I'm out of town or traveling or something, but I certainly make it a point. I want to be there in case something goes wrong. I'm a fatalist. I just assume something's going to, if I choose not to go to a show, something will go wrong.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well,
that's more.
We have a lot of talent north of the border here.
Yeah, we do. It's amazing.
And you're bringing a very exciting group, I think, Quebec Nord.
Bringing a couple of them. It's sort of it's a weird St. Patrick's Day tribute we're doing. It's a Quebec music, and it's very much Quebecois music. It's Le Vent du Nord and the Temps Centant, these two groups. They each have sets of brothers in each other group. It's very weird, connected. They're very connected. And it's definitely Quebecois music. It's French Acadian music, but it just sounds so Celtic, and you hear that sort of how the Celtic musical diaspora is everywhere, all over Europe. How it's just in terms of mandolins and guitars and just the sound, how pervasive that sound really has been all over the world, even as it's played by French-speaking Quebecois musicians 2 hours north from where we live. Yeah. And they are very exciting and very fun. And so I thought, let's have a little inverted St. Patrick's Day.
I'm part Scottish, so I'll be interested to hear this.
As am I.
Okay. Let's, MacQueen, of course. Let's start with the Quebec music.
Okay.
That is rousing music for St. Patrick's Day.
Very good. I agree. So
very good.
On St. Patrick's Day at the Flynn.
Absolutely.
This is 2 days. This is the Friday. This St. Patrick's on a Sunday, but it's the greater St. Patrick's Day weekend.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Most of these holidays expand for a weekend now. So
yeah, I like that.
I do too.
I think that's a good trend.
Yeah.
The longer the holiday, the better.
Yeah, I like that. I agree with you. Okay, now we have Kijo.
Oh, Angelique Kidjo. I would say this is probably the single show that I'm most looking forward to. This is she's a brilliant African musician. She's born in Benin and she moved to France. I think now she lives in Brooklyn. But she's very much an African artist. She still writes in the 2 dialects of African language that she was raised in, and she's been around for at least 20 years or so, really creating powerful, propulsive music. And she took this Talking Heads record from 1980 called Remain in Light, and that was David Byrne and his neurotic New York friends made this African influence record. But clearly they are very much neurotic New York white people, and they're not going to make a real African record. It's African influence. They've been listening to a lot of Fela Kuti. And so Angelique Kidjo loves this record, and she took it back to Africa and just immersed it in these deep African sounds and came up with this great record from decades ago and just modernized it in Africa. And instead of an African influence record, hers is like an African record. And she's one of the great live performers you will ever see. Your radio listeners won't be able to see this clip where she does the dance halfway through. It just makes my heart stop when I see it. So.
Okay, well, let's listen to Angela.
Okay. I hit my chest.
And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack. And you may find yourself in another part of the world. And you may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. And you may find yourself in a beautiful house with a beautiful wife. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Letting the days go by. Let the water roll me down. Letting the days go by. Into the blue again. After the money's gone. Once in a lifetime. And you may ask yourself, how do I work this? And you may ask yourself, where is the large automobile? And you may ask yourself, what is the beautiful house? And you may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful wife. Letting the days go by. Let the water roll me down. Letting the days go by. Into the blue again. Once in a lifetime. What a dissolving and what a removing. There's water at the bottom of the ocean. Under the water.
What a treat. You
Oh,
can
I
hear
can't
every
wait.
word.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
It's just so celebratory and so like when David Byrne would say, same as it ever was. It was very weird. It was very weird and spooky when she does it. It's just like this profound statement of eternity. Most love it. I can't wait.
Great.
I'm really excited about it. Big 10-piece band. It's going to be fun.
Great. Now I'm talking with Steve MacQueen, who's the artistic director of the Flynn Center for the Performing Arts in Burlington, Vermont. Those shows will really be great. And you also have a show coming which is a little bit different. You have the U.S. Army Field Band and Soldiers Chorus.
Of course, yeah.
Now they will be here, and it's a free concert.
It's free.
I'm sure that our audience would like to know, how do you get tickets for this special event, Steve?
You call our box office and reserve them. You can go get up to 4, I believe. That's negotiable.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just trying to avoid people taking 20.
Right.
But yeah, and then it's general admission the day of the show. You come and fill it out. We had them back 2 years ago without the Soldiers Chorus, just the field band. And they were really great. They can do just about any kind of music. They're from big band to serious classical to marches, obviously, Sousa marches, things like that.
Great.
And then with the chorus added, you get that big vocal. It's a 60-piece band and a 30-piece chorus. I think it's going to be big sound on the Flynn stage.
I love marches. I love Sousa marches. When I was growing up, I played Sousa marches in the band.
I think everybody does, don't they? Don't just, is there a way to be in bands and not play Susan?
There are other marches, but they aren't that good.
But he's the king.
Oh, absolutely. No question about that. The Flynn brings lots of dance to its stage every year, and you're noted for that. I'm interested that the Parsons Dance Company is coming.
Yes, from New York. They've surprisingly never been here before. So they are a great company, and they do really exciting athletic work. They're more fun as opposed to, you know, what are they doing? It's less pondering pondering that than just really enjoying the sort of physicality and the sort of, they have great music that they do it to as well. They're also going to do a student matinee for us, which will be sensory friendly for young people on the spectrum.
Great.
We've been doing those matinees over the past few years.
The autistic spectrum.
Yes.
Yes,
and
right.
we've been having great success in terms of providing really good experiences for a lot of people that otherwise might not be able to get to the theater. And Parsons is at the front end of that in dance, so we're really delighted to explore that area with them.
Well, that sounds great. Now, particularly the show for the autistic spectrum. The arts and music and dance make a way for people of all kinds of people to enjoy what they do.
Oh yes, we have obviously we have Flynn Arts. We do all kinds of classes as well, and we have a Parkinson's dance class. And it started out after a Mark Morris show came through. Mark Morris has a Parkinson's dance program they do, someone in our community saw it. I went to Brooklyn and learned from Mark Morris Dance, came back and started these workshops. Started with 4 people, and now there's 2 full classes. There's probably 40 people that do it, and it's deeply moving and kind of miraculous to watch people with Parkinson's sort of dance with or even forget their symptoms while they move. It's the most therapeutic, beautiful kind of, you know, spiritual in the non-religious sense that you can get. It's powerful, amazing stuff.
Yeah, music is spiritual, I think.
I agree.
I
what is it about
really
tones?
is.
What is it about tones that we respond to?
Absolutely, yeah. Now, you bring Broadway shows, and you're bringing the sound of music and Spam a lot. Of course, we know a lot about those two.
Those two are big.
Elf will be a lot of fun.
Elf should be a lot of fun for the family. It's based on the Will Ferrell Christmas movie from some years back, and it's just goofy in the best sense of the word, like optimistic, smile, holiday kind of fest stuff about a boy raised accidentally as an elf who comes back as a grown man to, you know, teach the meaning of Christmas. It's a holiday show. What do you want?
Right. Yeah. I loved the movie actually. I loved it when Will Ferrell sat down in this great big guy in this little chair.
Yeah.
I mean that's just funny.
Oh, to
and
me,
he could carry it off.
To me, Bob Newhart in that movie is the most amazing thing.
Oh yeah.
Just his demeanor just cracks me. Wearing the elf suit just cracks me up. It's very funny.
The office scenes.
Yes.
Were just so funny.
Yeah. So that's going to be a big one. And I mean, our big Broadway show so far that we've sold is Something Rotten is our surprise kind of runaway hit.
That's what I want to ask about. Where does that come from?
Oh, it's a great show. It's pretty recent. I think it premiered on Broadway just maybe 3 years ago. And it's a very funny story about these competitors of Shakespeare, these brothers, and they can't do better than Shakespeare, but through a weird series of events, they come up with the idea to do the first musical theater, like the first Broadway musical on stage in England. And of course, it all goes wrong and it's all fraught. It's got a song in it called I Hate Shakespeare. So how bad can it be?
That's good. Have you seen the funny show on Vermont ETV about William Shakespeare and his wife?
No, I haven't.
And I can't think of the name of it. But you know, his wife is just a very common type person, very person who's not really interested in the finer things of life. You know, at that point, you know, the commoner, if you will.
Right.
And the guy who plays Shakespeare, you know, he's trying to create things, and it's very, very funny actually.
Okay.
I can't think of the name of it, but it has great music with it too.
Okay.
To introduce it, and it's on Saturday night, I think.
I'll look for it.
Okay.
I'll be working a lot of Saturday nights coming up, but I've got a few before the season starts.
Okay. Now I'd like to talk about Bohsen Youssef.
Bohsen Youssef is an amazing man. He was a heart surgeon. He's from Egypt. He's Egyptian. And he was a heart surgeon in Egypt, but he was very distressed by things happening politically around the Arab Spring, and he became a social satirist. And he got a TV show. Actually, it started as a webcast based on the Jon Stewart Daily Show.
Yeah.
And he took the Jon Stewart role, and it became the biggest hit in the Middle East. It became and he was a very forceful social satirist. But in the Middle East, they didn't like that in Egypt, and the Morsi government did not like him doing that. And he was arrested and held once, and then after I think 3 years, he had to cancel the show, and then he fled the country under threat of imminent arrest.
Wow.
And so he relocated to LA with his family. And so he's now in exile doing very funny stuff about the perception of Muslims in the United States and his own story. His own story is really amazing. You know, heart surgeon turned social satirist. You rarely hear about a social satirist who becomes a heart surgeon.
Yeah.
That's a different path.
Doesn't go that way.
Different path.
Takes a lot.
But he's really interesting, extremely funny, so he's going to come and do his show, do his performance, which is sort of half stand-up comedy, half almost lecture, but in a very fun way, because he is not a lecture dictating type. He's a very personable, funny comedian.
That should be a very fascinating evening, I would think.
Yeah, he was voted one of Time Magazine's 50 most important people in the world. You know, he really stood up and truth to power in a way that even Jon Stewart admits, like he doesn't ever have to worry about.
Right.
He could say what he wants. He doesn't have to worry about people coming dragging him off the set and arresting him. You know, so Bassem Youssef did. I'm
talking with Steve MacQueen, who's the artistic director of the Flynn Center for the Performing Arts in Burlington, Vermont. Where would someone get tickets for regular shows at the Flynn? I mean, you know, I know you have a great website.
That is generally where we would go to get them. We sell most of our tickets online. You can go to flyntix.org, FLYNNTIX.org. And you can get there also through our regular site, flyncenter.org. And then you go to Flyntix. It's actually flyntix.com. Sorry. And those are the best ways. But you can also go by the Flynn at 153 Main Street. Our box office is open Monday through Saturday and an hour before showtime. So you can always get tickets there as well.
Okay, great. Now you sponsor shows with other groups. You're co-sponsoring with Lane Series, King Lear, which is very exciting. But I'm really interested in David Cohn and the Painted Bird. Furious Klezmer, what does that mean?
Well, yeah, Daniel Kahn is, I believe he's American-born, living in Berlin these days. It's sort of klezmer with almost a punk rock edge. It's got a real kind of intensity to it. Something like the Klezmatics used to do, but even with a little slightly more of a hard political edge. It's political music as well, very fiery, but it's also very much klezmer as well. So I think klezmer by itself is fiery.
Oh, I love klezmer music.
So he's sort of like a klezmer band at CBGB's or in 1978 or something. It's like it's very energetic and raw, but it's very much in the tradition as well.
Okay, okay. Raw, that's interesting.
Raw, that's a good word.
Good word, I like that word. You are having a lot of shows at the Flynn Space this year.
We are.
Which is perfect for some smaller groups. And our own Vermont violin player, Suvin Kim, is coming. Oh,
he is. He does. We've had a partnership with him. This might even be the 5th year where Suvin comes in and does a couple of things. And this year he's presenting a program he calls The Beethovens of Today. And it's composers, contemporary composers that he finds to be very appealing, and he's going to put together groups to play this new music by these contemporary composers. And I don't know 100% yet, I haven't seen the program, probably contrast that with some actual Beethoven as well, because he's a tremendous Beethoven player.
Oh yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Do you know whose music, the contemporary music, is going to be?
No, I don't have it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right. Yeah, you know.
Look on the website.
Oh yes.
flyncenter.org.
When we think about contemporary music, we forget that all music was once contemporary.
True.
It's hard to remember. Yeah. It's hard to even think about the fact that somebody listened to Beethoven the first time, or Mozart.
It's kind of strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think people make a mistake when they take whole genres and name them modern or contemporary. I'm still mad at people that did that 100 years ago. Yeah. This is modern. It's like, don't you see the problem there?
Yeah, oh God, yes.
100 years, what are we going to call something? It's postmodern. Postmodern? It just gets a little crazy.
Yeah, contemporary. We call it contemporary.
Contemporary now,
You're also having some shows off-site.
Oh, yes. Well, we're doing one show this year. Another Egyptian. We're doing 3 Egyptian performers this year. We're doing a lot of music from around the world, which we always do. But this year we're doing, that seems like an extra few. And we're doing 3 artists from Egypt: Bassem Youssef, an amazing young man named Mohammed Abazekre, and then this woman at Higher Ground. Her name is Dina El-Wadidi, and she's a contemporary kind of singer, very much a composer, and she sings, I can't the word contemporary again.
There you go.
She sings very up to the minute sounding.
There you go.
Almost pop, but it's Egyptian music. And she's a very big star over there, and she's coming, this is her first tour of the US. And so we're doing it at Higher Ground, because we work with Higher Ground a lot, and we always enjoy it, but we always work with Higher Ground at the Flynn. And we thought, wouldn't it be fun to take something else and put it over at that Higher Ground and see what happens there, see if we can get our audiences going back and forth, you know, instead of just kind of dropping in one place or the other. So we're going to do that in October at Higher Ground.
Great, and then Middlebury.
Oh, they're coming to the Flynn, the Middlebury Actors Workshop. This will be their second production at the Flynn. They're doing Henry James's Turn of the Screw in a very weird, it's a very spooky and weird adaptation. I think there's just 2 actors doing it all. How can
it get spookier?
Oh, I don't know. Did you see that movie, The Innocents?
Yep.
With Deborah Kerr?
Yep.
That's my favorite version.
Yeah. It's very good.
Oh, it's devastating.
It's a spooky story.
And I'm not a big Henry James. I'm an English major.
I'm not either. I must admit.
Yeah, it was a big division back in the Florida State University English department back in the 80s. Are you with James or against him?
Yeah.
I stood against. I
was never big on T.S. Eliot, to tell you the truth.
Well, yeah.
There you go. We're almost done here. But Steve, what do you like best about your job at the Flynn Center?
Oh, I like working with artists. I've always really enjoyed that. I've always enjoyed seeing creative people engage in a creative process and then working with them to help realize it. I think that's really quite amazing. I also get to travel a good bit and see great stuff in other places in this country and sometimes outside of it. And that clearly is a perk that is just awesome beyond belief. But mostly it is grounded in backstage stuff, like really just seeing artists work. I like it all the way up until the moment the performance actually starts the best. The performance is kind of out of my hands. That's up to the artist. But I love all that, all the sort of effort that goes into making a show actually work, all the different people that do it. You know, so many people we never even get the chance to acknowledge, union crews and people backstage and people on the second floor. And just watching those people put their efforts towards helping an artist realize their vision. I think that's really powerful.
I'm sure it is. And your shows are great. I wish you a successful season.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us on Conversations with Kay. There we go.
That one all right?